Hey everyone, before we get started, I wanted to let you know that we have 2 brand new designs for merch. Custom designs done by Hyena Blood, aka Faramuza. He is on Blue Sky as Hyena Blood. Go check him out. He's also the one that did my channel rebrand. Just an amazingly talented fellow in every respect. It's disgusting. Ugh. We have 2 designs. The first one is called Stronger Together. All the proceeds from this design benefit 3 charities: Trans Lifeline, ACLU, and Doctors Without Borders. Any money made from those designs will go directly to those charities through Threadless. The other design is this really, really awesome Space Fox one with these lovingly rendered synthesizers inside. You can see we have some Buchla, Cascadia. It's just cool as hell. I love these designs. They have a print on the front and a print on the back. Go check them out. Thank you to Steve for making these. I am so stoked to have some merch that actually means something that I'd be proud to wear. And I hope that you like it too. All right, on with the video. Hi everybody, it's me, Jeremy. Welcome back to Red Beans Recording. We are doing drum and bass sound design according to the top 10 bass sounds for drum and bass and jungle production from this YouTuber called Stranger. Again, link for his video is in the description. He goes through them, names them, doesn't tell you how to make them, but we're crafty and we can figure stuff out. I've wanted to do this for a really long time. I've wanted to really dive into drum and bass production because I find it to be some of the most, if not the most, interesting music being made right now. It covers the entire gamut of subgenre, meaning like hard, emotional, soulful, techy, dark, euphoric. It's got it all, and I love it. It's very process driven. It's very sound design heavy. And yeah, I've been wanting to do that on the Digitone for a while. Okay, so in the first video we did respaces. Second video, we tried foghorns. Third video, we did 808s, drop basses, and detune subs. And a whole bunch of variations on them. We really stretched out in that video. That was fun. In this one, I think we're going to get into some of the more complex mid-range focused basses. In this genre, there's our sub, which is super, super important. And then a lot of the interesting stuff happens in the mid-range, which reaches into really complex harmonics. And that's where a lot of the interesting sounds come from, is like what happens in the mid-range and how those harmonics pop out. So let's see what we got next.
Wobble bass sounds are another iconic sound in drum and bass, characterized by that low-end bass, that mid-range that wobbles with an LFO.
All right, let's start with that. That has obviously a pitch drop in it. It feels like it's a held note. The wobble is like a dotted eighth note or a dotted quarter note. Either way, super, super easy to probably get close to. A lot of this is going to come down to how the filters sound and what your waveform is underneath that. Let's make sure that we are in the right key. We're going to be working in F. F is a favored key for drum and bass because of the way it accesses the lower frequencies. We'll worry about our drums in just a second. So we need a long pitch drop. Let's do wavetone for this and go to mod. Let's get our pitch drop done. So we're going to go to, it's down here. It is master tune. That's pretty good. A little high. Cool. Go over here, turn these down a couple octaves. Okay, so in order to get a wobble, there's 2 things we could do. One, you could go to mod here and assign this to volume. That would be this, like, not really a wobble, but it would do kind of what we want here, so. There we go. So there's a volume wobble. Let's go ahead and make a beat real quick. Sure, why not? So to get this to work properly, we need to add some harmonics and then have the filter glom onto those harmonics. So what we're going to do is take our waveforms. And get a bit more gritty with them. And then we'll go over to our filter. Give ourselves a little bit of resonance and find this volume part and send this to our filter instead. Pretty much that's it. We could add some effects. Now, this is going to get a lot more complicated in what he's about to do, but one thing we could do is we could open up the filter over time, like that. So we can use our envelope for that. Now, one thing that I think I would actually put into play with this bass is I would attempt to use these no LFO, no filter trigger things here. So I'll show you what I mean by that. I'm going to record a bass line. So what I'm going to go to do is to each of these other triggers besides our first one, I'm going to go ahead and turn off filter and LFO trigger. I know I missed it on that beginning one, but don't worry, I'll go back and turn it off. So that's not working exactly as I would have assumed. I thought we would have kept that going. It's not bad. Let's go on to the next one.
Here's a more modern example with a more high-end mid-bass in Friction and K9's Your Love.
Okay, so that one's really interesting in that it changes LFO speed. This is pretty common with wobble basses. Let's go ahead and try that one. That one had a lot of high frequency harmonics to it. So I think for this one, we are going to want to make a sub and then have the top bass be on its own. So we'll go ahead and make a sub bass real quick. We're going to use wavetone. We're going to use a monophonic thing. Let's go back to F. Just be consistent here. Yeah. I've actually heard a lot of like amplitude modulation on the drums lately and stuff. So we could go into here and go to amp volume, turn this way high and this way high, like that. A lot of drum and bass drums are actually made synthetically, like they're made in synths. So going to get some interesting interactions with drum synthesis that you may not get if you just use samples. I like samples, but you know, it is what it is. Okay. So copy this, go to a different track, paste this. It's got this like really like wave. I mean, it's going to be wavetable stuff. So this is going to be a bit of a challenge. I'd love to be able to take this track and transpose it, but I don't think we can do that. At least I don't know how. Oh, wait. Yeah. So when we're dealing with super high harmonic content, we're like when we have these insane mid-range harmonics and just like all this stuff created by like FM and whatever, if we pitch it way far down, those harmonics end up not all stacked in the 3 to 10K range, but they end up sort of down in the mid-range where we will experience them in a better way. So that's why pitching down really crazy like wavetables and stuff is usually what gives us growls. So let's figure out how we want to make this work. So we need LFO. So let's start with a that's going to be like here. almost there. I'm not 100% stoked with the phase of that sound. Now we're talking. But again, the phase of it isn't right. It's like hitting wrong. I hate that. If we go negative. That's not a bad, it's not bad. Okay, so what we need to do now is change the timing. So what we can do, that's super easy. So it's going to be all about our multiplier. We'll go in and change this, probably being a little overzealous with it here, but I just want to really drive this home. So for every note, I'm changing the multiplier BPM, which will give us a rhythmic slow down and speed up. Now, that's not bad, but we need to get some dotted figures in there. So I'm going to go ahead and, so some of these, change these to 24 as opposed to 32, which will give us a, or 48 in some cases, which will give us dotted figures, which are very, very common in LFO world. Odd that you can't use function in this situation. It's kind of annoying. You little bastard. Speaking of bastard, I'm rewatching Super Crooks. Have you ever seen that show? It's like a anime. It's very, very fun. It's like super powered, super villain heist stuff. I like it quite a bit. Very stylish. Toa Tai did the music. It's really good. It's holding me over until we get that new Cowboy Bebop creator anime. All right, let's check this out. Crisp. I like that. I like to, once I have a sound design, I like to flip to the algorithms in the FM mode to see what else I could get out of the sound, because the algorithm is going to change the order and relationship of these operators and carriers, and that's going to make a really big difference in how it sounds. So I'm pretty happy with that. I think that's a pretty good wobble bass.
And here's another example, and this really should be a new category on its own due to its recent popularity.
This is a talking
wobble.
I'll just go over this really quick because we made this accidentally in the previous video. We'll just use wavetones since it's simple. So to get a talkie bass, we need to have a resonant filter working on a high harmonic content thing like that. I'm going to go ahead and transpose this down because, again, we want those harmonics to not be all pushed all the way up to the top. That should work. So let's take this filter, take the frequency down like that. We want that resonant peak to come through. We want to hear that resonance. I'm going to go over to the effects and our sample rate reduction. We're going to change to post, then turn this down. And we're going to find where we start to hear right there. That's about as good as we're going to get on this. In wavetable sense, you can use a wavetable that talks. It'll go like, oi, 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 oi. I mean, we've all heard modern talking, probably. But now we can go over here and change our frequency. We can put an LFO on it to get the wobble experience. So, frequency. Don't really need a lot because we want to stay in that sweet spot. You like that? That's good. That's good. So yeah, that resonant filter and the sample rate reduction gives you a talking thing. You can do that in any synth. I don't know how it would sound with a different waveform. Let's try it real quick. Yeah, somewhere between saw and pulse is good.
Next up, we got wub and wamp bass sounds. These are very similar to wobble bass sounds. The only difference is that wobble bass sounds wobble indefinitely.
True.
Whereas wubs and wamps articulate and play once. And you can play these in repeated patterns or singular hits in call and response.
That's a really fun bass line. All right, well, we can do that. Let's go ahead and make a different beat, just slightly different. Filtered square, he said. So that's easy. Go to wave tone. Both of our notes way down. Square wave. Resonance up. All right, one voice. So a lot of this, I feel like, depends on what filter type you choose. Not all low-pass filters sound the same, especially when you crank the resonance. So while we are getting there with this, it's not exactly how this one sounds. Yeah, so if we do the sample rate reduction trick from the talking bass, then we can get a talk wobble.
Here's a more modern example in Formula and Telex's Locomotive. Listen to that higher mid-bass wub sound that comes in.
Okay, so that's not a bass. That little, it has nothing to do with the bass. That's a synth sound. The bass isn't doing anything while that sound happens, meaning it's not connected to the sub, therefore it's not a bass. I refute that as an example. So we want high harmonic metallic sound, so that's going to be our FM engine. See how the harmonic has come out over the, what do you call it, the fundamental? That's super important. A lot of these sounds, the harmonic is a lot more prominent than the fundamental. So now we need that v. We could do a filter for that. That's a good sound. Oh, sounds like ass now. Yeah, that's not terrible. I mean, there's a lot of variations that can be done with this. I'm happy with executing on something as a high harmonic content and a wub sound, but all of the bread and butter of making cool sounds, making cool tracks in drum and bass is about making cool sounds. So just because I've executed on one flavor of it here does not mean I'm done. Like, I would need to continue to experiment, continue to mess around, and see what else I can get out of this.
cousins to the wub sound. It just articulates differently. Instead of wubbing, it has more of a womp kind of impact. Here's one of the most iconic womp tracks by the late Dominator and Turno, Bomb Squad.
Okay, so we accidentally just made that. That's what we made. That's good. But there's variations here we could do. We could do a band pass. Wah means a envelope of some kind that's fading in very fast. Wah. Anytime you hear something that sounds like that, reach for an envelope. If you can reach for an envelope that's not just linear, you're going to be even better. A big part of what synthesizers, like, for instance, like the Peak from Novation, the reason that they sound the way that they do, part of the reason, is because their envelopes have a curve to them. They're not linear. So a little bit of exponential, a little bit of logarithmic goes a long way in making something sound snappy or cool. And I don't know, big L that we don't have that shit in here, but whatever.
Next category is frog and laser bass sounds. The reason why I'm categorizing these together is that they are used quite commonly together in jump up drum and bass. Frog sounds sound more grotty with more mid bass frequencies, whereas laser sounds have a lot more high frequencies. But the overall articulation of these sounds are similar and are used quite similarly in repeated note patterns. Here's an example in Formula's XTC. Notice that mid-ribbit frog sound.
So this is one of the ones, like this category, he used the word grotty. This is a category of sound that I have been obsessed with. Every once in a while, a track that I like will throw out just this really glottal, like croak sound, and it's super cool. I don't know if we'll be able to get that here. You would think that FM should be able to do it, but I feel like it's about distortion, and I feel like it's about distortion that has access to multiband. So like you only distort the mids, not the whole thing. Because once you start distorting the whole sound, especially if it's got a lot of low end content, the bass frequencies will take over and you won't be able to get the sound that you want. So what we could do here. So for this kind of sound, yes, you would use it a bunch and you would do like call and responses. So you would have like this sound play a little bit and then have another sound play a little bit while your sub underneath did what both of them were doing kind of at the same time. I mean, it's a good sound. I could probably make a track that included this. It's not what we're looking for necessarily.
Next up, we have knock bass sounds, and these are characterized by punctuating attack. And related in this family are donk bass sounds as well as gunk or gonks. With that knocking characteristic, these bass...
Okay, shut up. I'm done with this. We've got just a few more that I'm super interested in, but a donk is classically done in FM. Over here is just a blank FM patch. Donk basses are really popular in a lot of different types of music. It's good to know how to make one. If you hear someone say, put a donk on it, this is what they're talking about. So we need to go into our synth page. Turn up the level and turn the envelope really short, like that. And then you can adjust the synth, this, up to get like more of a donk if you want. Here, that almost sounds like it's like got an oscillator that's pitched up on top. That's something I associate with donk basses a little bit. That's a good one. So like I said before, find your main sound and then flip through the algorithms and see what you can get out of it. This is one that I might pair with a bass, like a sub. We've got a sub, but it's not as big as it could be. Yeah. Oh, I love this bass.
Dance floor.
That one. So you can hear the aliasing on the top and a very big, wide feeling and a really like good clink, 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 clink. I love this bass. When it hits in drum and bass tracks, it's fucking hard as hell. Whoa.
This is Seth from Ghost Funk Orchestra.
Okay. Yeah, that's going to be a tough one. Okay, so let's record a pattern real quick. So the thing about this bass is like it's super crispy. I think the best we're going to be able to do is maybe do saws. Camera. That's not bad. But we're missing this side chain. So this should pump. I really wish that we had a way to do sidechain compression in these because it would super, super, super be awesome. But we don't. That's not a bad thing though. Just a spicy sample reduced saw with the sample reduction after the filter. Yeah, that's good. That's good.
More used in old school acid house and acid techno.
Oh,
hence
yeah.
the name.
Last but not
and this
least,
sound originated with the vintage bass synth. Here's an example and mentions a Fender.
This is an odd one again. He's conflating the bass line with what's going on top because the bass line is do 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 do. So let's get that first. A big chunky low end bass line. So we'll go to wavetone for this because it's just so easy. And let's make it spicy. We'll leave a sub. We'll leave a sine wave for the sub. Get our square wave way down there. And then our filter with just a little knock on it. Like that. Now, I am happy to report that this thing can acid, or at least it can distorted 303. Let's go to our wavetone. We can also use Swarmer for this, but we'll use a wavetone. Saw wave. We might only need one saw wave, to be honest. Let's start with one. Make this monophonic. Level, 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 up, up, up. Filter. Resonance. And then go to our amp. Turn the overdrive all the way up. Post filter. Start to hear that top end. There it is. We can actually get acid sounds in here now. I don't really like the chorus out there. Yes. It's all about the relationship between the resonant peak and how much we're pushing the sound around with the envelope, how much we're pushing the filter around. Wish it was easier to play legato on this thing, meaning I wish that it was simpler to just like hold two notes next to each other, or play a note, hold it down, and then play another note, and have that note not re-trigger. One of the big reasons that the 303 sounds the way it does is because you can slide notes together and attach notes to each other. So you'd want to play around with that. But I think it's a pretty good sound. It's not bad. Hell yeah. Well, we did it. Thank you so much for watching these. If you have, I hope you learned something. If you have any knowledge about drum and bass sound design or any resources you really like, put them in the comments. This is something that I want to continue learning about, continue playing around with, and getting better at. And I want to thank this stranger guy for having a pretty simple to understand and not bullshit video on the subject. So thanks, bud. Yeah, again, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.
Bye.